right, so welcome in, guys. This week, I'm so excited. We're going to do Ardbeg. That was a weird thing to do on camera, I'm realizing now. We are going
little
to...
shivers. You look.
It's pretty strange.
You're shaking like an excited dog.
I am excited, though. We're going to Ardbeg Distillery. It's one of my favorite distilleries in all of Scotch. It's on the island of Islay. Now, last week, of course, those of us who were here, we did some introductions to Islay. We did Bunnahabhain, we did Bruichladdich, we got into some Octomore, and we got in some Cúla Ila, and it was a fantastic time. This week, then, the next two, we're going to do some of the big three, and we're starting here in Ardbeg. Gary, I want to introduce Michael. You'll see him there in camera with Gary. Michael is a interstellarly renowned spirits expert, imported from Austin, Texas, and then matured in California's best red oak atmosphere.
Excellent.
Just a fantastic guy. And also, those of you that are watching the video cast will see that both Gary, Michael, and Ryan are all in the same place today. We've got movie magic going on. Everybody gets to have a party, and I'll hold down Austin, Texas over here.
Yep. And we're in our COVID pod over here.
Yeah,
I'm a member of the pod, an honorary pod member.
Yes, he's been
pod person.
He's been keeping himself safe, and so we've been checking all the boxes on the COVID side, so as that no whiskey shall be harmed in the making of this.
Oh, good.
Go forward.
Good.
So anyway, picking up from what you were saying, Chance, so very quickly, so we can get to the first of our malts we're going to try. We are going to be in Ardbeg. So we were doing like the north to south last week, and so we're really coming to the southern tip of Islay. And on that southern tip is where we'll call it three big ones are Ardbeg, Laphroaig and Lagavulin. They're kind of there on a mile stretch, and between them you can actually walk between all three of them. And we're going to focus on Ardbeg. And so this is actually the first of two Ardbeg. So Chance, yes, I know you're excited. And today we're kind of going to look at some of the standard range plus a few specials like that. And then next time we're together, we'll actually have a look at the annual releases. But for now, let's get started with the Wee Beastie, just brought out in 2020. It's a 5-year-old expression that we've got.
So this is one of the few actual age statement whiskies in Ardbeg's range.
Yes, because it's a 5-year. This has been added in as part of their standard range that they're doing.
First one in a while, as I recall.
First one in the standard one. So here, I'll pass this to you for your assessment of that label
review. Of course, Ardbeg has a cohesive design, I think, language with their bottles, and this one is no different. And there's always a bit, what I like about Ardbeg's labels is they always are evocative of certain imagery, and they're often very whimsical, and so we see that on this bottle there are these claw marks and clawing its way out of the bottle, or me into the bottle, perhaps.
The Wee Beastie.
And generally the little red labeling, it pops on the typical kind of black and gold Ardbeg design colors, so... always a nice label. Beautifully shaped bottle. I think all Ardbeg share the bottle. Little distillery mark actually on the glass.
Yeah.
Classy as usual.
Yep.
You
actually notice I've got my Ardbeg t-shirt here, and I've got like the big A.
I'm so jealous of that Ardbeg shirt. I'm not even gonna lie.
He's got a lot of tchotchkes from the whiskey industry. I always feel jealous.
No, this you have to actually go to the distillery to get this one. So that's an encouragement for you to go get your t-shirt at the distillery.
But Ardbeg itself was shut down for several years in the 90s.
That's correct.
And so when it does come to age statement whiskeys, they don't have as many of them, probably because there's this large silent years gap in Ardbeg. And so in a very clever fashion, they have yearly releases that are no age statements and highlight different flavors and essences of various casks and aged whiskeys. Really clever and really diverse range of flavors that we get out of Ardbeg. And
this one is because of the demand, they've kind of had a lot of pressure of not having enough Ardbeg for the world, and so this was kind of brought out a little bit, something fresh. And the 5-year-old Wee Beastie, thinking this is a little bit of a monster in a glass for you. That's 5 year right off the still. They're basically doing it in bourbon casks and finishing off in sherry. So it's like a little bit of a.
And Ardbeg itself is not a large distillery, right? They have two stills. Is that right?
Two stills. Yeah.
So the entire world, imagine having to
It's getting supplied by them.
right, getting supplied by 2 stills, and so we further understand why they don't release a ton of aged whiskeys.
Yeah. And so, and for the people like now always following on like now the peat particles per million, this is when you start to talk about it. So Ardbegs are usually that 50 to 55 is what they're doing. That's you've already taken it right on
That
your
is
face.
not mellow.
It's not what
Wow.
you want. Yeah, this is so
a
it's,
drama queen
so,
of a whiskey.
so on your nose it is like a heavy
Yeah.
sherry. You're thinking, okay, I've got
Wow.
some Ardbeg, but then on that.
I've talked about how much I love this dram.
What is the ABV on this, Gary?
The peat is it's 55.
This is a 55. This
Yeah,
is
it's
a
just
great
a peat.
value of a whiskey.
But what you've got is that there's less time in the cask, so you're getting 5 years. You're really getting the impact of the peat coming through.
Pure fluid.
So for
And
people
that-
that love the peat, this is actually a great
Yeah.
one because the barrel hasn't softened it off too much.
And that's 55 ppm because it's 47.5 ABV.
A 47
Yeah,
ABV. That's what I was
yeah.
talking about. ABV. Sorry.
ABV, you mean? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Oh, so
Man,
I mean,
this
I've
one-
talked about I've used this as a finishing dram several times. I bought this bottle like a month and a half ago. It's almost gone, or it feels like a month and a half. You know, COVID time. It could have been 6 months ago. I don't know, but it's I love it. It's so good, and it's it's unique amongst their line because their line is really
Yeah.
well developed and beautiful and has some really classic and lovely flavors. And this one, when it first came out, I was just sort of like rare. Like it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and the really big thing about it as well was it was a sub $50 bottle, so they were really not trying to gouge the market. They were bringing it in at a price.
One thing I really like about this being a part of the Ardbeg line is it lets you compare, because I assume this is like the basic flavor of that Ardbeg whiskey
Yeah, this
has.
is the basic one, and there's an interesting thing with this. There's discussions because it's so close to the 10. Now, it is, as you were saying, it's right in your face there. It's right fiery little monster, little beastie coming in, but it's not as like fiery as some of the ones we're going to get into as we go on with an Ardbeg. So it's like a. And do you notice the finish was very quick?
Yeah.
You've probably not got a lot.
Very.
What do you think, Michael? With the
Feels like I'm drinking a cactus. It kind of comes in really hard.
It's really prickly, but it fades very quickly as well.
Yeah, got a very quick finish on it. So that's the one. You probably, I don't know if you'd noticed that, Chance, how quick that finish is. I mean, it's in, it's out, like
Yeah.
slaps
It's
you
almost
around.
it's almost like feels like it's like effervescent and bubbly, kind of like kind of tinkles. It's like it's just
Oh, thank you.
And there's so
Kinda
little
like-
left in the bottle.
sparkling down your throat. Sparkling. That's kind of the almost. It's just kind of it's so prickly that it's got like this little.
Right? I think this serves as an
Finish.
excellent basis for comparison about the other,
Yeah.
core range and specials that we're
The
going to be
specials,
getting
yeah.
into, because I feel that this is what gets made into those other whiskeys later on,
This is, yeah,
and
this
it
is
lets
that
us
core.
compare what are the influence of these casks and these mixings of various vintages
Correct.
have on the underlying whiskey.
Okay.
Good stuff.
Mhm.
Yep.
So I've
And so-
opened the
so-
serpent, or I've opened up the whiskey here. And I'm not really getting any difference out of it. At least not on the nose.
I think it's such a strong, it's just off the still, it's such a strong flavour. It's so young, 5 years relatively.
Yeah.
Side, but I'll have a little bit of that as well.
Actually, I think it may have actually intensified the peat. So I gave it 2 drops to maybe 1/8 of a dram left, and I think the peat actually may have been stronger after that.
Yeah. So, given the fact that we're doing Ardbeg, we've actually got ourselves some Scottish shortbread here, which Ryan has been
I've
scoffing
been
down.
eating.
That
I've
and
been
it's-
cleansing my palate between shortbreads with shortbreads. My palate is extra clean.
And I'll give you a little side story as we're talking about shortbread. There's a dog on the Ardbeg distillery as a mascot. Actually, I've got a picture of him here. He's called Shortie. And Shortie was a dog that lived next door to a distillery and used to wander around to a distillery and ended up feeding the dog, and it was kind of became the mascot for him. Hopefully bringing some good luck to the different distillations that we're doing. But that's so much so that there's actually now an Ardbeg beer called Shortie that they produce. So they're producing a beer as well. So for people that can get it off the aisle, probably over in the UK. It hasn't come here to the States, but it's definitely something to get over there. And Shortie was a very much now, if everybody's seen how Shortie going by, now can he bring you luck, so to speak, on the distillery there. So it was always something to look out for. And if you go to a visit to a distillery, you'll see his picture on the walls there. And if you now start looking at bottles, Chance, you'll actually see now and again there'll be Shortie will be on some of the pictures of some of the bottles like that we've got. And I don't think any of the ones we're trying today.
He's getting pulled up into space.
He's on the Supernova,
Look at that.
which we'll get to.
That's what happened to him.
So
He
he's
got
actually
abducted.
Here, somewhere here.
That's
This is not
awesome.
working.
Yeah, that's Shortie. Anyway, so we're going to continue on. So Wee Beastie was 2020's new add to the range. So you've got the Wee Beastie as a 5-year-old, you've got the 10-year-old, which we're not going to try today, like that in the standard range. They've got another one in the standard range, but they introduced it in 2017 as one called An Oa.
Let's do the
Pass this over to our label connoisseur
Label
over there,
view
see what he
again.
thinks about it.
This feels like a very core Ardbeg label. It just has the name in typical white letting, understated. I feel for an Ardbeg label actually. But can we hear more about the name? Where that name comes from?
I know. Yeah. So there's two parts to it. Yeah, well, you pour it. There's two parts to it. I know there's a mill, or it's like a peninsula just further along in the southwest corner of Islay, and it's called the An Oa is the name of the mill. So mill, MULL, like Brian's other favourite island.
Favorite island.
That, yes. So back there, and that peninsula. So this is named after that, and it's a protected peninsula. This mill, and that's what this whiskey was named after. It's 46.6 is the ABV in this one, and what they've done with this one is they've put it into some. And now this is a little one for you. I know you're Mr. Cask Man.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually some PX.
Love
Some
it.
casks they're using with this one, and they actually put in some virgin oak as well. So it's got three. It's got the bourbon cask, little PX sherry casks, and then some virgin oak as well.
So when we
It's all
mix
been put
casks
into
like
this.
that, are they put in sequentially into those casks, or do they put some in the sherry, some in the bourbon, some in the PX,
And then mix it together.
Mix it together.
Good
Okay.
question. I don't know the answer to that. You've caught me there.
Because I know that's how, say, the Balvenie Caribbean cask and portwood are done, is that they actually physically move it for the last, I think, 9 months in the case of portwood
Exactly.
to the port.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's others that's part of the mixing where they're taking different ones to get the consistent standard.
Oh man, the
So
nose
this-
on
no,
this
this
is
one, yeah.
wonderful though.
Oh yeah. This will be back now another one. It'll be in that 50-55 range BPM. I suppose this should be some nice. What are you thinking, Michael? What are you getting?
Outstanding.
I almost get like a hint of this real savory flavor. Like that smokiness brings like almost like a meaty, like a
Got meatiness to it. What's interesting, none of you have
that's
really
delicious.
talked about the maritime type smells that you get traditionally with the Ardbeg peat. And it's really, it's on the tongue. I mean, it's delicious. Layering over that peat, there's a lot of flavours in there.
Well, the very first time I tried Ardbeg, it's just not an overt taste of this, but an intimation of like seaweed almost for me.
That's
Whenever I
that
taste an
maritime,
Ardbeg,
yeah.
you know, and it's very different than if I taste a Lafroig or a Lagavulin.
yeah.
It's just for me, it's always distinct.
Isn't it interesting? Just 3 distilleries. There's seriously just like about a mile between them each, and how the 3 whiskies all get produced in the same place. Yes, it's the stills, and we talk about that. And you've got the environment, the water, the peat. So they're effectively using the same peat, and different strengths of it, and different exposures to it. How you get such different expression from something effectively made the same way.
One thing I noticed about this is that there is the immediate effect on the nose for me is one of sweetness, and then it quickly gives way to the peatiness.
Yeah.
And then there's the sherry overtones that are coming with the peatiness, but the bourbon is the most immediate effect on me on the nose.
Yeah, this is, and then on the palate, this is delicious. And it's got a little bit. Remember that finish we're talking about? So it's got obviously a medium finish.
Mhm.
It's not like a really lengthy one, but it's not as short as the 5-year Beastie that we had. So you get those flavours are lingering around a little bit longer.
This is really good. And for me, there's a lasting effect of that PX, I suppose, on the palate on the trailing end of the finish that makes it really nice to me.
So very good. So just to kind of keep us moving along, we're going to move on to Corrie of Wrekin. And Corrie of Wrekin is a bit of a monster. It's a 57 degrees alcohol by volume. And really what the Corrie of Wrekin is a bit like taking the 10-year-old Ardbeg and putting it into French limousine casks.
Oh.
So it's like one of the French wine regions. Take some of the casks and put it in there and let it age a little bit in that. It's a non-age statement, the Corrie of Wrekin, but it's part of their regular lineup that they've got.
And weren't you
Well,
saying
probably
this
the
was named
strongest.
after like the whirlpool near Jura?
That's correct. And it's the second largest whirlpool in the world, and it's between Jura and Islay. And this whirlpool is called Corrie of Wrekin. That basically, that's like Corrie of Wrekin's like the Gaelic name for it. It's probably like the swirl of water, what it stands for.
This was my first bottle of whiskey. It was a bottle of Corrie of Wrekin. It was a gift from a boss when I did an assignment particularly well, and my boss at the time was a Scotch aficionado.
Oh my goodness!
And so this is actually my first. I mean,
an introduction.
Pretty hardcore intro to Scotch,
I was going
right?
to say, if this is like, here, try that. You enjoy this. I mean, what was your first impressions about the peatiness? Was this your had you had Scotch before this?
Not really.
Not really.
Yeah. Like I was very much like a vodka tonic kind of guy or something like that.
Okay.
You know. And I was like, wow, this is like
I'll try
complex and it deserves analysis. You know, you can't sum any of this up in one or two words. You know, like a white rum, like a Bacardi or something like that, which is fairly one note. Like this is it.
So try it. So on the nose, it's got all the different characteristics. Expect.
Mm-hmm.
We'll try this. This is really now 57 ABV.
It's a nuclear bomb.
Yeah,
Oof.
it's a step up, and it's
Ooh, that's good. Wow.
It's in the standard range. As I said, they've got the 5 now, the 10. I know we've got the Corrie of Wrekin and Ugadal. The Corrie of Wrekin's the one we chose between the Ugadal and Corrie of Wrekin, and to try the 57 degree. Really just hitting there with something different now, like a whirlpool in your mouth of what you're getting with this one. It's very nice. Yeah. Michael, any thoughts?
I think this one's interesting against the Wee Beastie because the Wee Beastie's got a nice like fire to it, but this one it's more of like a peak that slopes off. It kind of hits hard and then it kind of just you get all the different flavors trailing off of it.
It is more alcoholic than the Wee Beastie, yet to me it is not as hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's been tempered a little bit more, a bit longer than the Wee Beastie. And I'm going to pass over because, interestingly enough, label.
Yeah, we do have like a visualization of a whirlpool on the label. And one thing I like about again, there's a lot of whimsy to the Ardbeg labels, which we'll see, which we saw during the Supernova with Shortie getting beamed up to the spaceship, abducted, along with some other things from the distillery. But it's a nice little touch that the Corrie of Wrekin, the word Corrie of Wrekin, is being pulled into the center of the whirlpool.
Yeah.
And there's a Viking ship being pulled outside of the label. Again,
nice.
It's just cute. A lot of whimsy to this label. All with the kind of standard Ardbeg template. And just very playful. One of my favorite bottles of whiskey still. My first bottle of whiskey, still one of my favorite bottles of whiskey.
So it's close to your heart.
Yeah.
I do love the fact that the name is Corrie of Wrekin, which has the word wreck in it, which there's got to be some of at the bottom of that whirlpool. Just saying.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be a lot of things at the bottom of that whirlpool.
In fact, Ardbeg itself is like the name of the distillery is like an Anglicization of a Gaelic word, right? I'm going to try this, and Gary, you're going to correct me if I get it wrong.
Go for it. Let's see.
Ardbeg is going to be my best try.
If you're not saying it right, just say it stronger.
That's right. And try to do like a little bit of a Scottish brogue or something.
More.
Yeah,
more emphasis.
So it'd be Ardbeg. It stands for the small promontory. So it's basically a small jutting out of land is what it's standing for, and that's what Ardbeg is. Kind of called the little village of Ardbeg, which is only like a few houses like that along that part of the coast, where there's the people there.
And the finish lasts forever on this whiskey.
Yeah, this one is.
You know,
If you there, so
this is like the cigar of whiskeys. Maybe Lagavulin is the cigar of whiskeys, but
Lagavulin like the Prince. I'm gonna add a few drops. If you want to add,
No, I'm okay.
I just want to see what does
this guy. Open this fellow up a little bit.
So one of the things you're getting is like adding the water there. It's even opening out. There's a little bit of cokiness as well. That was like the dark smoky coke that you get coming out, and plus you've got all those maritime flavors.
Oh, so good. Opening it up really makes a huge difference to this whiskey.
Yeah,
it really does. It just transforms
now
this
the
whiskey.
Now the finish is just like the flavors are just flowing over the edges of your tongue.
Perfect way to describe it.
Excellent. Okay, so that was us having a quick look at the main range of whiskies, and we purposely, because there's so many, we just had to choose some to do. But now what we're going to do is something a little bit special. We're going to have a look at Supernova. I know you've been waiting to try this chance. We're going to do Supernova, and the Supernova, we're going to try the 2015 version and the 2019. And the story behind Supernova was that Ardbeg, the smart people at Ardbeg, they wondered what would happen if one was to put some vials of whiskey and with some bourbon cask wood up with those vials and put it up into outer space on the International Space Station, let it whir around the world, while at the same time putting whiskey into barrels down on Earth, so you could do a comparison about what is the impacts that's happened by travelling in space. And what we're going to be tasting is the version that was made on Earth, because the volumes, there's not enough volumes for that, but we've got the first one's called the Supernova 2015. The other thing about it was they took it up to 100 ppm. So we're talking about a little bit more. We'll be interested to see what we're going to get with this experience with that one there. I'll actually bring the bottle here. I'll pass over to yourself, because it's really cute what they've done with the 2015 version of the bottle.
Yeah, again, breaking the typical language of the Ardbeg bottle, which usually is a lot of black and gold. This one has a predominantly white label. Sets off the Earth here, Moon here, and there's a little bit of the gold "You Are Here" star. Again, really whimsical. Even the language they use and the verbiage in the bottle, it tends to be very playful. Supernova prepares to go out with a bang, for example. It's really enjoyable, and it's no wonder that people like to collect these, I think, because the labels are so varied while sharing like a fundamental language. And in theory, Supernova is one of the peatiest whiskeys on Earth.
Yes.
And the peatiest whiskey in outer space, I suspect.
Exactly. It's the peatiest whiskey ever gone into outer space.
It's also the least peaty whiskey that's ever been to outer space.
So you want to grab that
paradoxically
one yourself?
Is that this one, number 6?
Yep.
Okay.
6. Now, as well as that, it's at 53.8 ABV, this one. So usually that standard 46 that Ardbeg does. Pumped up a little bit. A special occasion, so just under 54.
And you said these bottles have both appreciated in value greatly. A lot of the special releases have, right?
Yeah, this would probably be like a $500 or $600 bottle if you were to try and get it. So you can still get these if you want to go into auction.
Solid investment, guys. I mean, that's more than my 401k has appreciated, I think, over the past 5 years. So,
The problem, I thought about investing in Scotch. My problem is then I would have to not drink the investment.
Exactly.
And
there is a Scotch.
Exactly. Yeah.
I read that there is a Scotch-backed mutual fund that you can invest in. They actually have the physical spirits locked in a vault somewhere, and you look it up.
Add to it. Yeah, they probably add to it each year, but we use money to.
Interesting, huh? Like a vault. Imagine a heist movie based on that.
Yeah.
Like,
my goodness,
the biggest heist in the world, the whiskey mutual fund vault.
That actually sounds like a story. I can see you
wouldn't that be
a
cool?
storyline with this.
Just bathing in Pappy Van Winkle, Making it rain, literally, alcohol.
Okay. So, guys, this is 100 ppm. You guys, you love your Ardbeg. You're used to them. So what are you thinking with this one? So it's more doubling the peat, but it's not like doubling like oof and
I want to go back to what I said when we reviewed the Optimore, which is the peatiest, right?
Right.
I just don't see it,
yeah, it's not
right?
It's not
I
coming
don't-
across.
It's like at some point your tongue becomes saturated with whatever peat has to offer.
Yeah.
Even my nose,
And-
like I'm not
Yeah. No, it's not right.
I'm not getting the campfire. I'm not getting the note, the intense peat.
Oh, we get
From
you're
it.
certainly getting some.
Like I'm almost getting more like simple fruits like bananas or something like that.
Yeah, I mean even on the nose, I think it's for noses we've been sticking the glass under too much.
Yeah, I mean it's
Even
there.
on the nose, it's
but-
there.
I don't see it as having
not
twice the peat.
Yeah, it's
you
not
know,
forward. It's not like a forward whack in the face type one. Very subtle, but
Wow.
oh yeah, the few drops of water that helps it.
Yeah, the one
Yeah.
changes it a lot.
Oh yeah. Well, that
it's-
opens up quite a bit.
And it's not a super long finish. It's still you get lingering flavors. You get all the usual.
It's not a Corvarakian type finish for sure.
Yeah, it's a milder, a little bit milder compared to other ones. Yeah, I mean it's nice. I'm getting a little bit of dry cokiness to it now.
Mhm.
Like coke being like now. I mean you're like using it in a drying. It's like that dryness you were saying for the peat. Coke is like if you get coal, you get smokeless coals called coke. It's got that like if I get that type of flavour to it, it's a smell that it brings. I mean, at the back, there's something at the very end of it that hits the back of your throat. There's a
Oh man, that's lovely. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I need to buy a bottle of it now.
yeah.
I just need to
To your
figure out
list.
how I'm going to be able to afford a $500 bottle.
I mean, just buy all of the Ardbeg special releases, and I think you're going to make money on the deal.
Yeah.
Buy two of
I'll-
them, one for you and one to bank.
All the Ardbegs, all the Macallans, and all the Glen Morangis.
Probably the Macallan's definitely the one.
Yeah. So I'm gonna double down on this. After I released the Serpent, after I opened it up, I'm getting even more, like sweet bananas and that sort of stuff, and not peat and such like that. Like on the tongue, oh yeah, it's there. You know, I got the campfire,
Yeah.
I got all of it, but on the nose, nah, not for me. Maybe you guys are, maybe I don't know, but I'm just not, and it's lovely. It's just lovely.
Right, so with the success of that one, 4 years later, they brought out the Supernova 2019.
So they launched two batches of whiskeys into orbit.
No, it's
No,
basically, they
they're
were
just-
just
okay.
they were redoing the same like we'll say concoction.
They
Brought
definitely
it back out.
they doubled down on the label. This is my favorite
Yeah,
of the
they've
Ardbeg
really, this one
labels.
they've really got.
Like we saw earlier, you can see Shorty, beam me up, Scotty,
Yeah, it's like
abducted and probed.
Back. Alien head.
Oh yeah,
this is like Men in Black or something. The way they've like, picked up there.
alien head.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the number one prepared whiskey for aliens. Yeah. So, to what bias you. So both of these, by the way, I didn't say as well. These were both committee releases. So committee releases are ones that are done, that are released to like anybody that signs up to be part of the Ardbeg committee. It's just like the fan club, and you get advance notice of the bottles coming out. But they also actually have advanced bottles that you can buy. And it says committee release on the actual label. I don't know if you've seen that in red.
Mhm.
That's what they were there. Yeah, you have to be able to get your hands on it.
Wow, try the hand test on this. It actually smells so good.
I want to see between the two supernovas. So this is 54 degrees alcohol by volume. Once more, it's 100.
Mm.
What's that? Oh, that is really nice. Oh, you're right.
This is to me completely distinct from the other Supernova.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Completely
Yeah.
different.
Is it
100% different.
Isn't it? Yeah. Guess which one's the more is like the most between both of them? Well, which ones do you like?
This is to me. This one is so much better. I know I tend to like use hyperbole a lot, but I really do like this one much better than the other release.
And that's the one. This one has won a lot of popularity. The other one being a little bit stifled on the flavor This one here, apparently, now they brought it out, it's really had a lot of accolades.
This is delicious. This is awesome.
Oh, actually, talking of accolades, I missed out on that. I know earlier on, it was voted the best non-age statement alcohol whiskey for 2019.
Oh.
I know, so it's like a staple, and it really came in strong in all the whiskey competitions.
I mean, it was a fantastic dram. I really love this Supernova though.
Yeah.
The
that?
2019
nice?
one. Oh man.
Yeah. This one might be slightly cheaper at 450, 500 instead of 550, 600. So
I mean, that's
It's only a
good.
year old.
Is this
though,
also
so
100
exactly,
ppm?
yeah. Yeah, 100 ppm. So now 100 ppm, a lot of flavour there. What do you think, Michael?
I like. There's some subtle things going on that are
Mhm.
like.
This is much more
Yeah.
subtle to me.
Yeah, I can't put my finger on exactly, but there's like it's like the mid taste, not the start, not the finish, but like right in the middle, it changes up quite a bit. And
I just let it flow over your tongue. Aside.
To me, this one is super mellow.
yeah, that's a good way
You
to
know?
describe it. It's like a
is
mellower, it's
interesting
like a
for the
more
100
refined
ppm.
version of the.
It's very low contrast, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
You know, like everything is very even. The flavors are very even. There's nothing that spikes or dips.
Yeah, it's very refined.
It's well integrated.
It's well integrated, refined.
This is delicious. Really delicious.
It's for people who really appreciate Ardbegs. You get all the things that you appreciate in the glass. It was a special edition they brought out. Really subtle, nice barrels. So these ones done basically in bourbon barrels. That they were doing for these.
So how did you get the information about what barrels this was aged in? Because it's not on the bottle, right?
It's not on the bottle. Either you can obviously look up directly on Ardbeg or just looking on. Well, in fact, most of it from the Ardbeg distillery. They'll give you a listing of the barrels they're using.
Interesting.
That's so quite often.
I really like this
Yeah.
Supernova. This is
I'm-
fantastic.
I know. I'm licking my lips. Oh, I
Yeah.
thought you would like this one. So this was one sticking in something that I knew you would like. I didn't want to say too much because actually the 15 is one of my least favourite Ardbegs that I've got. That 2015.
Really?
I mean, I've had to rank between Ardbeg and Ardbeg.
Yeah. You
Different
gotta stack
ones.
rank them.
So that 15 wouldn't be at the top of like the ones. I'd say it's still good. I would never say no to it. But like the 2019, it was delicious. When it came out, I was like, oh, this is nice. This is a Supernova I was expecting.
The Ardbeg Day is still my favorite.
That
Ardbeg.
one's really great.
That was good. That
That one's very different.
What are you talking about?
Licorice,
that? We
right?
can't have
Just
it.
straight
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Straight up licorice.
Yeah.
In there.
So if you find it, you have to buy 2 bottles of it. One for you, one for me.
All right, gentlemen. I'm going to move us along,
Right,
and I'm going to
so-
ask you, what will be your finishing dram on this fine, fine evening?
I'm gonna like let this linger in my glass for a bit because I think
pour another
today,
glass of
yeah,
Supernova.
today this has been I think one of my favorites. Even though Corvarekian has a place in my heart, my head is crying out for more Supernova 2019. So
Michael, would you? Okay.
I'll do
Something
the
amongst-
the Supernova.
Do the same one?
Yeah, that'd be great.
So I totally understand. And I would do the same thing.
You've
But
already
I'm not
finished the whole-
there.
He's
I've
done.
only got the sampler bottle. So
Which is wait a
I'm
minute.
going to save the sampler
wait a
bottle
minute.
for another day.
Yes.
And
Oh,
I
okay, you're
think-
keeping the rest of it. You're
Yeah,
keeping
'cause
all 2 ounces.
I want to come back and I want to taste it again after working my way through a few lower ones and see what other stuff I get from it. Because, man, that
Yeah.
2019 is just so good. So I want to see it from the other side with a palate that hasn't been hit by so much peat. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking
Yeah, I do.
my final dram, I may go back to where we started today with the Wee Beastie.
Yeah. Your Wee Beastie.
Yeah.
The Wee Beastie gets a lot of decriers now about the Wee Beastie. They brought it out. Now, some people, it's because it's such a quick finish.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're expecting for a 5-year-old. It's coming
it's
out.
under
you
$50
just-
a bottle, right?
It's,
It's like
come
a
on, man.
$30 bottle. Like
Set
30
expectations
cents.
correctly. You know.
No, 35 to 45 is the average. In the UK, it was £39 is what they
Oh.
brought it out at.
I think
It's
I think I got it for
$45.
like $35.99 or something. That's what I meant by 30. It's in
The
the
bargain.
30s.
Yeah. Chance probably got one of the best purchase prices on it.
It's a bargain.
But
Yeah.
whatever it is, under $50, it's an under $50 bottle for an everyday whiskey. It's an absolutely great whiskey to try.
Yeah. And it's just, I mean, now it doesn't compare with the 2019 Supernova. Of course not. Of course not.
But now you get reference points. Yep.
Still pretty nice.
Yep. The 100 ppm. So, gents. Here we go. Cheers.
Cheers.
Once more.
Slange.
Well, that completes the Gents overview of Ardbeg. Thank you for joining us this week on A Dram and a Blether. And as always, please drink responsibly.